Welcome back to Chogdi Football TV, back with another one on Chogdi Football TV. So reports coming from Sam Mokbil, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name well, of Sky Sports, if I'm correct. Um, Reports that just came out said that Arsenal are willing to put up Miles Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri for sale come this summer for 50 million each. What do I think about this? It's a very tricky one, right? It's a very tricky one because these players are very talented. These guys are very talented. They are very young. They still have like a large window span to improve. Even though that these players are very um talented, like Ethan Wanyeri, very fantastic player. Like we have all seen glimpses of what this boy can do, playing that number 10 or even playing from that Saka's position, the right wing. And we've also seen what Miles Lewis Skelly is capable of. This guy is traditionally a midfielder, but has been played consistently at at left back for Arsenal, and he has done fantastically well, especially last season. However, come this season, he hasn't really featured a lot. Ateta really hasn't featured him consistently like he was being featured last season. Like last season, we were already me in particular. I was already thinking like, okay, this guy would be England's first choice left back going into the World Cup. But this season, and it's only a few months to the World Cup, it seems like this boy would not be picked to go to the World Cup, and that is because of the amount of game time he's gotten this season. He hasn't really featured a lot, and I can just imagine how that feels from a player that was featuring consistently last season to barely getting playing time, this season. Yes, he has made all the appearances here and there, the Champions League, in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup, but not consistently, especially in the Premier League. And it's looking like this is even the season that Arsenal are bound to win, one or two trophies. So I can imagine how that feels. And the thing with young players is that they want playing time. They want playing time, and you cannot blame a young player for that. That excuse of, oh, you're still young, you're still 18, you're still. We've seen players like Lamine Yamal, players like Musiala and Co break these molds. Even Saka, when Saka decided to feature for Arsenal, he was around that age. So the game has gotten younger. The game has gotten younger. And somebody like Miles Lewis Skelly, there are a plethora of teams. If he goes to right now, he's going to start in the Premier League, in La Liga, in Bundesliga, in Holland. Like there are different leagues this boy will go to and he will start. So I get it. And reports have been coming out that, Manchester United are very interested. They're very interested in him. Um, what other club? Is it I think I saw Brentford or something. A few clubs, basically, a few clubs basically are interested. As we know, Ethan Nwaneri is currently in Marseille, on loan, which is a very big club in France. And he's doing well so far. He scored a couple of goals. He's featuring consistently at Marseille. So his loan move is, from what we know, is going well at the moment. Now I know that when you look at Arsenal's transfer, the way Arsenal do transfers, one thing you realize that we are not really good at selling players. We are not really good at selling players. We are not a good selling club. We buy more rather than sell. There's just something that's with Arsenal. We don't, even when we sell for very cheap. We sell for very cheap, and I get it. Instead of going into the transfer the summer transfer window come this summer and spend a huge amount of money, I reckon the club probably wants to sell some players and use the profits of that to strengthen key positions like the left wing. Maybe buy another midfielder. Positions like that. I reckon somebody like Gabriel Jesus will probably be gone in the summer. Um, Hopefully Martinelli leaves as well. Trossard leaves as well. But these guys, somebody like Gabriel Jesus, how much would Arsenal really sell him for? Martinelli, how much Arsenal really sell him for? Trossard, how much Arsenal really sell him for? Arsenal is not, for some reason, but not just very good. Our track record when it comes to selling, it hasn't, isn't good. So maybe that is why they are looking at selling these young boys that have potential. Do I think that they should sell these guys? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I know that these boys want to play first team football, and rightfully so, rightfully so. Especially when they see what is going on. The team is on the trajectory to win a big trophy, so they want to feel like they are partaking in in this in what is going on. In this season that Arsenal might win a major trophy. They want to feel like they're partakers. They helped out. Um, Even with seeing somebody like Max Dowman, gets a lot of shine and things like that. So they probably might be feeling a certain way. Imagine going from featuring a lot to not featuring at all. Like that can really dampen your confidence. So I get why Miles Lewis Skelly might be open to moving to another club. And yes, people might be like, no, just be patient, just be patient, because if things might go wrong. But again, who is to say? Who is to say? It's not, everything doesn't need to be pessimistic. What if he goes and his career now blossoms? We've seen an example of somebody like Opama, that people would have said, "Oh, just stay in Manchester City. You're about to win trophies." But imagine if he was there and he was not getting playing time, but then he goes to Chelsea and you see how his career just exploded. Even making the Ballon d'Or list. So anything can happen. However, I don't think Arsenal should sell them this summer transfer window. I think if anything, Arsenal should sell um not sell, send Miles Lewis Skelly on loan. There are plethora of clubs that would love to have him on loan. Clubs in England, clubs in La Liga, in the German Bundesliga, in the French league. Even if it's for a 2-year loan or something. I think that is what Arsenal should consider, instead of just selling them outrightly. I don't think it's a good idea at all, because these guys have so much promise. Miles Lewis Skelly has so much promise. Somebody that went from that is a traditional midfielder, but then has did very well last season at left back. This guy is multifaceted. He can play different positions. You don't want to lose that. You do not want to lose that, because I know we have Calafiori, but he is very injury prone. He's very prone, a very fantastic player that can also play different positions as well, but he's very injury prone. Yes, we have this guy from Bayer Leverkusen. What is his name? Hikapie, who can play different positions as well and has been fantastic this season. However, you can never go wrong with depth when it comes to your squad. You can never go wrong. So, and these guys are hill end boys. They are from the Arsenal Academy. Miles Lewis Kelly has been in Arsenal since I think 7 years old. These guys know the club in and out. They know the club in and out. So you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that. There are just a lot of, these guys can even serve as They can even serve as an inspiration for other young players in at Hill End. That wow, if we work hard enough, we can break it to the first team like Myles, Skelly, like Nwaneri, guys like this. So you can't just want to sell um what's it called, homegrown talents like this, especially for 50 million. Nah, give them time. Give them time. Imagine by like 21 or like 20, if Arsenal wins a couple of trophies, like Arsenal strengthens up. Imagine how much these guys can be going for. I think 50 million is, it might look big right now, depending on what Arsenal wants to do, but it is small money. It is small money for the level that these guys can reach in like another 2 seasons. 50 million is cheap. It's cheap. That's what we should be selling Martinelli for. That's what we should be selling Trossard for. Not these guys. So that's my opinion, man. I don't think it's a good idea, but hey, who knows? So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that it's a good idea to sell them and use the money generated from that sale to strengthen key positions in the Arsenal squad? Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment under the comment section below. And until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.